What's up, banana bunch? Bunch? Bunch?
Welcome to the Junglejims podcast. What's up, Banana Bunch? You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the Junglejims podcast. I'm your host, Mark. Welcome to the show. Okay, I love doing that. I'm excited. I got a double episode this week. A couple dates changed behind the scenes, so I was like, all right, I'm going to just put these two clips together. So we've got, well, you know what? I say it's a longer episode, but we tend to average 30 to 60 minutes, so what am I even talking about? You know what time this is. It's time for me to tell you to download the Junglejims app. If you've not already, you can get app-exclusive deals every week on there. It changes. You can see the weekly ad in advance. You can watch the podcast on there. There's all kinds of great stuff. I think one of the best ones on there, and this maybe is not getting talked about enough, is that you can search for items on there. So if you have the podcast app, all of my friends can stop messaging me every day to ask me if we have something in stock. But it checks the stock of items that you're looking for. There's a barcode scanner on it. So really helpful tool. You'll have fun with it. There's a map even if you don't want the paper copy that we carry in the store. I wanted to talk about a couple products I found recently this week in the store because these are always fun bits. So we found these Mochi Snack Bites. This flavor is tamari teriyaki flavored. I don't know what the other flavors are, but they're really cool. Let me show you. I won't bite it on camera for you, but it is a crunchy treat, to be clear. But they're like these little tiny, like hard mochi squares. I know a lot of you maybe did the same thing I did when I saw this, which was go, mochi, those are soft, right? Well, no, we're really just referring to the rice flour that they're made with. But it's a tamari teriyaki blend. So tamari's like soy sauce. So just kind of like a nice, rich, salty snack. Yeah, these are really good. If I had any comments on this, I'm sorry, I'm reading the back of the bag, and it's like, growing up in Asia was exciting. It's describing the aromas, the textures, the flavors. Yeah, these are born in Thailand, it says, but I believe still produced here in the States. No, it's a product of Thailand and then packed here in the States. Very cool. Anyway, I would highly recommend these. If I had a note, like I was starting to say, I would give it a little spice. I feel like these flavors would take just a bit of heat so well. So I'm secretly thinking about using some chili crisp in the bag. But these are cool. Let's see. I'm going to throw out a package here. I got these in from a company. This is a funny thing. And I feel like when I was thinking about this, I almost felt like a funny thing to even have any form of passion on. But I do enjoy the aluminum water space, is how I will describe it. So all of these, you've got your brands like Liquid Death, things like that, where they're doing like canned water, aluminum cased water. So this came in from a company called Rain, and conveniently these bottles are also on sale right now in the store. I don't know if they knew what they were doing. I don't know if they knew about this. Maybe they timed it out that way intentionally. But Rain is pretty good. Look, I mean, my high water mark for water is I don't want it to taste like anything. I just want it to be like cold. Water is a drink that makes me hyper aware that we as humans are mostly made of water. I'm like, oh, it doesn't really taste like much unless it's gross. So anyway, I've really enjoyed the Rain samples. Funny enough, I'd actually tried it at the store before because I genuinely like these. Like Ice Mountain has one. We have some Hawaiian brand too. But you should check these out, especially while they're on sale this week. They have a couple funny notes on the back, and I now almost want to try doing a, how shall I say? I want to test the statements here. There's really just one in particular I think would be fun. It says, colder faster. Aluminum gets colder faster than plastic, which feels like something we could prove or disprove. But I feel like if you can print it, it's already been proven. But these are sustainably sourced, ultra hydrating natural spring water. There's a BPA-free liner because I know a lot of people get hyped on that, but there's a little liner in these bottles. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure the aluminum would just rust, and that would be a problem too, or get eaten maybe. Infinitely recyclable, recycled material, 100% recycled material, and recycled most often, which is that aluminum is recycled 4 times more than other plastics. I genuinely love this. I just always laugh on pretty much all of the aluminum products say the word recycled 10 times easily on the side of their bottles, and every time it cracks me up. Anyway, I think these are 89 cents right now in the store, so if you're hearing this as of the time of this recording, you should check them out. And they're pretty reasonably priced the rest of the time, too. So that was cool. And then these things were called, I think, Eddie Pop Cake. I found them as I was exploring the back of the store. And these are hiding on a wall next to Robin Hood and His Merry Men back there in the UK. But they're little snack cakes. They've got like a banana cream in there, and they're covered in chocolate. They're really good. They have, as I call it, the good fake banana flavor. So if you're into that kind of thing, that's what you should check out. All right, well, moving on. We got 2 guests on the show this week. Enough yapping from me. So coming up on the show first, we're going to meet up with the creator of High 9, which is we've talked about them briefly on the show before. They were on one of our THC beverage sampling episodes. But I love when this happens. It used to happen a lot with guests, but now it happens with brands. I think this is cool. But they were driving through the area. They were going from all their stores that carried them. So junglejims was on the list. And they came over here. He brought his son, Batman. And as the first thing we said to each other, I didn't even get a chance to ask. He just goes, yes, his legal name is Batman. I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. But anyway, we talked about a lot, and actually in light of there's been a bunch of legal hearings about the legalities surrounding THC now, especially in beverage form. But that actually looks like that went well. We do talk about it a little bit on the show, as well as the formulation of the brand. This is just one of those interesting things where I was like, yeah, hey, you're here. You want to sit down for 5 or 10 minutes? And then we talked for 20, and it was very interesting and engaging. I had a great time. So anyway, let's talk about High 9. I love an impromptu podcast. I was just down to hang, and I was like, you know what? You're telling good stories. Do you want to do this? Do we have time? And you sounded down for it.
Happy to make time. I mean, it's this is going out telling the story, living adventures to tell more stories. That's what it's about. So
yeah, well, I think it's a good time. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell me, why are you in my office today?
All right. So my name's Franz Tudor. I am the CEO, creator, co-founder of High 9, which is a revolutionary honey, or THC honey cocktail, as we're now calling it.
Oh, cool.
So we're out traveling the country right now, getting the word out, and always have to stop at Junglejims when I'm coming through Ohio.
Well, thank you. That's I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was great. Well, and your products have been on the show, I think, at least twice now. And I know we've done some TikToks and things like that about it. But I'm an early adopter, and I really love the new lineup. But that watermelon half and half has been now in the regular rotation in the Borison household. So
it's personally my favorite.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, we're not carbonated, so you can actually freeze these. So summertime's here. You can make some popsicles if you want.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Now, some people out there, they're not abandoning alcohol for THC. They're still doing both.
Right.
Our limeade, our lemon key lime, as an ice cube in a glass.
Oh, maybe a little tequila in there.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's fine. I get it. I'm sorry.
I take the water.
I think I can say it.
Actually, I can too. There's nothing that prevents it. It's,
right.
Just is it.
I'm waiting for the first company to make like the crossfade.
Well, that's because
I'm sure that's like an illegality issue.
That's what the TTB is for the federal government. But what I do is I take the watermelon, I put it in the freezer, and I let it get to almost slushy.
Okay.
And then I can just sip it and enjoy it. Because otherwise, I want to chug these down. And yes, I'm not just the CEO. I'm a customer. To date myself to Robert Kraft.
I was just thinking about those videos. Oh my gosh, I always love watching those too. They're so good. There's something about that classic era of infomercials. We got to get back to those. That we'll make those for the products now.
I mean, come on. Joe Namath in pantyhose, Dan Marino selling
and the isotoners. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. I met Dan Marino. This was funny. It was like a tech conference, and I thought it was very funny that they had him there. It was like Lenovo or someone brought him in. And it was like an education and business to business conference. So it was very funny to me. I really don't know what the combo was there, except that it was in Florida. That was it.
Yeah. The funny thing, Dan Marino slipped in the draft because of THC.
That's actually really funny. Look at that.
And now we're running,
And now he should be out here sipping it with us. Dan, if you're out there.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd love to get some of those, those folks that have, faced the persecution. And, we're trying to say no stigmas. I mean, in fact, I'll tell you the crazy thing about the drinks right now. The biggest consuming population is the 35 to 60-year-old females. and we're calling them canna moms. They're not soccer moms anymore.
That's
they're,
awesome.
They're canna moms. But they're putting down their wine. They're looking because look, we're all so busy. I've got my little man Batman traveling with me across the country. When you've got enough in your tribe, you don't have any time in the day. You can't be. There's the Dayquil or NyQuil commercial. Parents don't get a day off when you're sick.
Yeah.
So they don't want the hangovers, and so they're going for this stuff. And and THC is not about getting stoned.
Right.
Everyone keeps talking about intoxicating, but we got to go back to the health aspect. I mean, marijuana even got back in the legalization discussion many years ago based on its medicinal properties.
Right.
And so we are happy that we're working with THC for the anti-inflammation, the anti-anxiety. It's not about sitting on your couch and zoning out to video games. So we're a little different in our approach, but we really believe that THC needs to be looked at differently, needs to be treated, and let's get rid of the stigma because there's a lot of people like myself. Look, I'm 52. I got a bad back. I have a fusion. I've got bad knees. I've got injuries. I drink this every day because it enables me to go to the trampoline park with my son, to go get a workout, to just walk up a flight of steps.
Sure.
And what's my other option? To be zombied out with pain pills? I don't want that.
No.
And a lot of people don't.
Yeah, a lot of people definitely don't. And how many horror stories do we hear every day about people that are in that situation and they're like, what do I do now? But to me, look, I'm handicapped. I have a couple other nerve damage issues. And it is one of those things that, look, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I've never used it recreationally, but for realistic purposes, there is I think one of the reasons I've been able to maintain a healthy relationship with THC is that I do view it medicinally first, and I think that's been the greatest, for me at least, has been the greatest part of the drink starting to exist. And, again, like I said, I was an early adopter of what you've been doing, and I really like the new lineup a lot. I think it tastes great. It doesn't get me to that place where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't actually function in a mental space. No, it's perfect. It's like my anxiety's dropped a little bit. I'm just calmer in general. And I can feel some of those things. Like I pinched this bad nerve last December and it's still problematic, but it's enough that I'm like, I get a little more use of my hand and fine motor skill in than I was 6 months ago, Yeah. And it helps.
And mobility is health. And mobility it's not just physical health, it's mental health.
Yeah.
We've had some folks that were severely debilitated from various ailments and started drinking our product. They were THC users before.
Sure.
And THC kind of managed their condition.
Right.
But after they started drinking High 9, they felt they were able to go and do more things. And it's, again, because we've got coconut water, we've got vitamins, we've got other things. I have some MS patients that are drinking our product and they're finding their life is getting back to somewhat normal.
Yeah.
Vitamin D deficiency is a big issue with MS patients. Most of our drinks have over 50% of your vitamin D from shiitake mushrooms. It's not
that's cool. I didn't realize it was from mushroom too.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's, again, that's embracing the health aspects. But I really want to see the conversation get away from the fear, because that's putting the fear factor in. If we go to a bar down the street, they're going to say, I don't know about mixing this with alcohol. I don't know about having... It's not that kind of beverage.
Right.
Someone's not going to sit down and drink a 6-pack of High 9 on a Friday night.
Exactly.
If they do, they'll be drinking the next one.
Thank you for your business.
Yeah, they'll be drinking the next one on Saturday night because they'll probably be asleep because the 6-pack would be 60 milligrams.
Right, exactly.
So.
It's like a little nap time. And that's okay too. Look, I could use a little more sleep.
I miss nap time.
Yeah.
I really do.
I regret, I was so staunchly anti-nap in my 20s and 30s. And now that I'm here in my early 40s, I'm like, was I wrong about this?
If we go back and look at kindergarten, maybe they had it right. More recess, more nap time.
Everybody's really kind to each other.
And everyone's happy.
Exactly.
And healthy.
It's amazing how that works, right? Emotional health is a very large portion of the whole overall, this holistic approach to everything.
Everything is an ecosystem, whether you're looking at your health, and health is a general term. Like, if you're not happy, you're probably not healthy.
Yeah, you're not paying attention to those other things.
Everything goes together. It's the same as in social media. We're doing a lot of work on our marketing, so this has to work with the ecosystem. You got to do on this platform this, and it all has to work together. Your same thing with your body, your mental. go outside, walk barefoot in the grass. I mean, to use the cliche, hug a tree.
Yeah.
Just get back to stuff. Again, I'm taking this time to travel across the country with my son and go see different stores and different customers and connect with people, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. I get to share experiences and build adventures. So
I love that so much. Well, you're in an adventurous place, so it's perfect time.
Well, and by the way, my son does have his own business card. He's 6.5, and his title is VP of Adventures.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a great title.
Yes.
You're doing an amazing job too, man. That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
But
I fondly look back at my own travels with my dad this way, as I was telling you before in the store, where I'm like, this is the best stuff. If I had one regret, I was like, oh, we're not still doing that? What were we thinking, Dad?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I love seeing this country, and when you drive as opposed to fly, you really get to see more of the cultures.
Yep.
And it's interesting when you're driving towards Chicago from the west, how much farmland you're driving through, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's a city.
Right.
You're like, I didn't see people for the last 200 miles. Now all of a sudden, there's 1 million plus of them.
I made the drive back from Colorado a couple years ago, and I thought about that the whole time, where I was just like, wow, it's amazing how much there's just open space there still is. And you think about the world being like, oh, it's so crowded. I know,
let's keep it that way.
Yeah, I'll just bleep that.
We do not need another strip mall.
And that's, what, you make the point about driving. And like, look, I enjoy flying. I'm fine with, but I love a road trip for that same reason, though, that I think I call it freeway culture every so often, where I'm like, look, if you are just driving the interstate, sure, you'll get there a little bit faster, but you also miss out a little bit there. You get too much of what I call the homogenization of America, right? Where you're like, every exit's about the same. It's just which brand gas station's at this one. Is it a Wendy's or is it a McDonald's? Do you know what I mean? Whereas you drive those other paths, and there's all kinds of stuff.
Well, and the great thing about when you were doing that before, like Sirius satellite and cell phones and all, it would always be like 3 radio stations that would be the only ones. A mariachi, a country, and a classic rock station.
Exactly.
Those were your 3 choices. Not even like NPR or CNN, nothing. No podcast.
Right.
It was like, all right, I'm going to rock some mariachi for the next 30 minutes.
Exactly.
I'm getting a little sleepy.
Oh my gosh, I think about those road trips in the early 90s. It was like, oh my gosh, Dad has one Garth Brooks cassette tape in the car. And then otherwise, like you said, it's a mariachi or it's a classic rock.
That's it.
Hopefully we're close enough to get 700, you know what I mean, on the AM. Or like maybe I could hear a human talk from
maybe you can get a sports cast or something. Exactly. Whatever the local team is, the Mud Ducks are playing today.
Oh, they're playing today?
But it's awesome. And you get to try the food everywhere.
Yeah.
You really get a different appreciation for this country and the people that make it. We get so desensitized, with CNN and Fox and everybody fighting together. When you drive through these places, you just see people that they're just trying to live their lives.
For sure.
It's especially when you're driving. Shout out to the farmers out there, because that is not an easy life.
No, especially these days.
And especially you look around and you're like, when they're not farming, what do? They have to drive an hour and a half to get to a grocery store, maybe.
Right.
Maybe that's why they're farming, because they can get all their own food.
Oh, we're making it here.
You just have to have respect, because it's hard work. It's real work. It's meaningful work. And I just, like I said, I love getting out and meeting folks.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. Well, I'm glad I had this opportunity today to meet.
Absolutely.
I know you talked about some of the things that really make it special, but I think we didn't touch enough on the honey aspect, honestly. I think that's something we should dive into.
That's our secret sauce.
Yeah.
So when we first started this, I tried a lot of different Delta-9s, as we were talking about, a lot of different nanotechnologies and so forth.
Right.
But at the end of the day, taste, it's got to taste good. Otherwise, people aren't going to come back to it.
Sure.
And it's got to have real flavor. And you're seeing these trends in alcohol, for example. Like they've moved away from, consumers are moving away from sort of the artificial flavors, and they're looking for juices. They're looking for stuff. So we knew taste mattered. And when we came across this honey, which we use MCT oil and lectin. There's no chemicals. There's nothing crazy about what we do to get the Delta-9 into the honey before it goes into the can.
Right.
It took away the entire smell, all the taste of it. Now, look, like craft beer, there are going to be people that, craft beer, I like sour, I like hoppy, I like I'm not a beer guy. You're going to have some folks that say, oh, I love that. They're calling it earthy now. I call it weedy taste.
Yeah.
I like that, but it's going to be a small portion, because, again, you have this population that is now abandoning something they like. They actually like the taste of wine. They like the taste of their cocktail. They don't want to sacrifice taste for benefits. That'll last a very short period of time. So we knew we had to make it taste right. So the combination of the honey with real juices. So the pineapple tastes like pineapple. If you're a Willy Wonka fan, the schnozberry tastes like schnozberry. So
I've been licking a lot of wallpaper recently.
Hey, you have to sometimes. And
you were mentioning freezing the limeade earlier. I'm like, oh, that sounds so good because I love that. The two I'm drinking most often now are the watermelon half and half and the limeade. Those
we have a peach tea coming too.
Oh, that's gonna be great. Yeah, I remember you sent me a few secret new products along the way.
Yes.
So I'm very excited to try those too.
We've got some cool stuff in the pipeline. Yeah. Some are going to be even healthier. Cool. Some are going to be just straight up fire.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, yeah, that's a secret safe. That's great. I can't wait for that.
So we're ready.
What is something, I know we talked about some of these things, but what are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing in your space as far as just getting out there? I mean, something I thought about immediately was on the podcast will be fine, but every time I try to make a video for social, they're like, oh, did you say Delta or THC? And they'll red flag a lot of those, So I was wondering, do you see that kind of stuff in your end too?
Canamom has been getting, and I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah,
as a term.
That's a great term.
So Canamom is starting to get, what is it? I'm too old for social media. Shadow blocked or banned or something.
Yes, shadow banned. Yeah.
That's been happening. The big thing that we're having to deal with is just the off and on with the regulatory.
Sure.
So we're based in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. Coming from Texas 2 weeks ago, we avoided the total outright ban of all these products. With crazy. Shout out to Governor Abbott for stepping up and dealing with a crazy politician and Dan Patrick, our lieutenant governor, who should be voted out of office. But it's the regulatory is the bigger. That's the overlying challenge because that's keeping. Junglejims is on the front line.
Yeah.
They're innovative. They're stepping out there, but and this is not a bad reflection on Kroger. They got to protect the rest of their business.
Sure.
So a Kroger, a Publix, an H-E-B in Texas, or any of these places, we haven't seen them jump in it. And also shout out to Total Wine because they were a pioneer in bringing the beverages to market. But then it's going to come down to education of the consumer.
Sure.
So when you walk in to buy a bottle of vodka, tequila, whatever it might be, you have a foundational experience that it's going to really come down to how much money I want to spend, how big a bottle, I already know my brands, etc. Right. When you walk into even the Jungle Gym section and you see all these different cans, all the packaging is bright and friendly and happy and whatnot.
Yeah.
But what makes each product different?
That's a great question.
So and some of them are different in different ways.
Sure.
But it's how do we get that messaging to the consumers? And then we also have a lot of consumers that are on the fence that are deciding, do they want to come back to THC?
Sure.
Or do they want to try THC for the first time?
Sure.
Remember, anyone who grew up in the 80s, we dealt with Nancy Reagan. This is your brain on drugs.
Yep.
And
I've fried a lot of eggs since then.
Yeah, and the kid that, won't talk about guns, but
sure.
A lot of crazy ads.
That'll be the next episode.
Yeah, that people grew up with, that it's still in them.
Sure.
And so this is where bringing it back to the health discussion, I think, is going to be very important because we need to make people understand that alcohol is, I'm blanking on the word right now. It's, that's an indulgence.
Right.
Right. I'm going to, and I know what I'm going for when I drink alcohol. I'm going for a buzz. People say I'm getting relaxed.
Yeah.
Okay. With THC, first of all, people are using THC every day, multiple times a day.
Sure.
But they're using it for many different reasons,
Absolutely.
Unique to each of them. And so to get these new consumers to understand that you're not doing something that's an indulgence, it's not a sin, it's not harmful, you're actually doing something to make your life better, to redefine your day, that's the message. And I think that's what pushes us all. Rising tide is going to rise all ships. And that's what I think it's going to have to take is, folks like yourself helping us spread the message that this is not a drug. Yeah,
exactly. I think about how much propaganda, I saw it in my own parents who, and not in a bad way, right? They're just like anybody else, susceptible to all of them. It effectively was like a form of marketing, right?
Yeah.
Where they're just like, look, this is the bad one. alcohol's safe. That's a thing. You know, obviously in moderation or whatever, but turning the tide has been really fun. It's been fun to watch people like my mother, who I never thought would try one of these, but then go, I'm curious to try one. And then I brought her some samples of all kinds of different stuff, and it's great now. And she's like, oh, it helps me sleep. I'm relaxed at night. I'm getting a full night's sleep again. I'm like,
I was at a top 10 liquor up in Minnesota,
Yeah.
which has been the heartland for breaking the beverages.
Yeah.
And it was around six-ish in the evening.
Yeah.
And here comes an elderly lady with a walker. One step at a time.
Yep.
And she was coming into the store. And I asked her, I said, have you ever tried any of these products? She goes, no, but my friends told me I should try them. And I'm just sitting there thinking, who are her friends? Are these
love
like
them.
the little scooter people behind are they dealing weed behind like their local grocery store?
I hope
Like,
so.
who are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who is your crowd? Because I want to come.
I wanna meet them.
join there. I want to party.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I mean, we've seen that everywhere, and that's what's happening. And again, the more we can destigmatize that this is not a drug, it's not something harmful. People are not. Let me tell you, crazy statistic. In Texas last year, there were 452 underage drinking deaths from alcohol poisoning.
That's crazy.
How many THC overdoses in any age were there last year that
Right.
caused a death in the country?
Right. None. Maybe one, but it was not from the drink. It was from all of the cookie
I mean,
dough
look,
they
doctors
ate.
used to prescribe cigarettes way back in the day.
Yeah, which is
it's-
always, yeah.
Anything is possible in terms, with education and dropping, I don't even want to call it morals because it's not. It's just
No, but
false walls.
Like you said, it was that stigmatization where it's like, oh, this is bad, this is evil. And we've been fed it for like generations now.
Look, and I've been drinking I haven't touched weed in 30 years since college. I've
Yeah.
been drinking my product now for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's not a gateway drug. I have not stepped up to anything else. And I haven't touched alcohol in the last 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
So look, everyone is different. Mental health is different. Physical
Of
health
course.
is, everyone has different things going on. We all have to be responsible, but that's also part of the education.
For sure. I love that. And I think that's the best part. Well, and anytime you've got anything you want to say on the show, I'd love to hear about it too. And I love learning about the space because like I've been a casual THC user for most of my adult life, but I'm really, I joked about it earlier where I'm like, oh, it's funny to see the main demographic, people who would have probably been mad at me for smoking a joint in a parking lot one time by myself are now like, so Mark, what drink am I supposed to bring to my kid's soccer game kind of a thing? I'm like, well, High-Nine, obviously,
And that's another thing that we got to all think about is the packaging.
Yeah.
We're looking at new packaging designs. I'll reveal that because, again, learning about who these consumers are.
Yeah.
The soccer mom turned canna mom don't want to be at the soccer event with something that's got weed leaves all over it because they don't want all the other ladies up in their business.
Exactly.
So we have to figure out ways that we can ease them into this, make it convenient, make it easy access, and make it discreet to some degree because we don't want them showing up with brown paper bags.
Exactly. You want to be able to actually put the can out, and I like your designs, and well, I guess I can lie to the audience and pretend that I haven't seen them, but having seen the new designs, I totally see the shift where it's like it's still retaining a lot of like what makes your brand unique, but also playing to an audience like that. And I think you'll start seeing way more of those out of the paper bags now.
Yeah, and hey, Stanley, is that the cup
we're all in the
company?
Stanley Cups. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pour the Stanley
gosh.
Cup.
I bought
Stanley. Let's do a co-promote. I'm
that
ready.
would be amazing. Why not? Yeah,
We'll give some away.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We'll do some designs.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. You have the big honeycomb on it too. That'd be great. They'd love it. And if not them, we'll just find another brand that's really willing to pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get so many ads for those kinds of cups now. I bought one Stanley Cup. I've had like all the knockoff ones for $100. I mean, I still have the old, back before Stanley was cool. I have like the green tank one, that everybody's dad seemed to have.
I still didn't even know what it was after it was cool.
Yeah.
Well,
you can imagine I am unfortunately entrenched in the internet all of the time by the nature of what I do. So it was one of those where I remember seeing the ad where they were like, oh my gosh, this didn't melt in her car after the car caught fire. I was like, well, that's great marketing.
And then other people started blowing up their cars hoping they'd buy him one. And
yeah, I was like, I'll just shell out $30, I think. I don't want to
human
blow my
nature
car.
is just, it's always amusing how trends and what gets popular. And
It's so true.
I'm just not that guy. I'm too old for that ish.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously. I'm lying to everybody. I'm like, no, I definitely am legally too old for it. but I'm going to keep trying swinging until one of these days.
Whenever we're dealing or discussing social media with our consultants and such, my partner and I just look at them like, think of us as like the old guys that should not be in the club when it comes to social media.
I love it. That's
like
so
that's not us.
They're back at the back table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no bottle service going on here.
Well, then what? Now I need High Nine in a bottle.
Exactly.
You know? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, Franz, thank you so much for stopping.
I appreciate you, man.
My pleasure. Yeah, of course. I know you asked off camera, but I genuinely love the products. Like I have a couple in my rotation, so I'm glad that this is one of them. So
well, and we're gonna drop off some more samples to you. So
I can't wait. It'll be great. Everyone goes home happy. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Next time you're here, let's talk about all of the. There's so many fun things you teased me right before. I really want to pick your brain on all the hip hop stuff, but that'll be our next visit. When we get the new line in here, we'll do a whole thing and we'll talk music.
Shout out to Ski Beats.
Yeah, I'm going to dive in so hard. It's amazing. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
And safe travels on the rest of the trip.
Appreciate it. Thank
of course.
you very much.
You're so welcome. I hope the rest of your travels are awesome. Thank you so much for coming out and doing the show with me. I had a great time. Yeah, that was awesome. All right, coming up next. So this was another one. An event is coming up August 15th, right in our own neighborhood. And you know I love a good cause and a good local event. So I am joined by Maggie of the Roll House here, right here in Fairfield, which, as I understand, is a very cool bowling alley and event space. They've got a whole chain of these all over Ohio. Now, I did get pretty excited about the gel blasters that they talked about at the other spaces. So still, Maggie, I'm hoping you can work on that for us. But they are hosting an event for the Jovante Woods Foundation, which supports asthma. It's actually, I'll let Aubrey dive into it way better than I can on this. But it sounds like a really good cause. I thought the event sounded cool. And so I brought them on to talk about the Jovante Woods Foundation, talk about what the Roll House is. And of course, like I said, I love to support things going on in the neighborhood. So here we go. Let me turn it over to them. All right, it's my favorite opening of the show. Who are you guys? Why are you in my office? Maggie, I'll let you start since you were my first point of contact. Who are you? What are we doing here today?
So my name's Maggie, and I work for Roll House. Roll House Entertainment Center. They have 7 bowling alleys throughout Ohio, and I wanted to specifically talk about a big event that we have coming up at our Fairfield location on August 15th.
Cool. Well, conveniently located right down the street from Jungle, so this
Absolutely,
makes sense. Yeah,
right?
I love supporting the locals, too.
Thank
Well, then,
you.
Aubrey, I'll let you jump in here, too. Introduce yourself. Why are you in my office today?
Yeah, so I'm Aubrey Woods, CEO of the Jovante Woods Foundation, Chief Operating Officer. First, I'd like to start by thanking Maggie for allowing us to have, our second annual Icky Woods Bowling Shuffle at Roll House just down the street here. But, Jovante Woods Foundation is why I'm here. We started this foundation about 15 years ago, and every year we're just looking to keep doing more to make an impact on the community and those around us.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the foundation and its mission.
So the mission of the foundation is to raise awareness about asthma. Most people know Icky Woods lost his son 15 years ago to asthma attack. That's my brother, and Icky is my dad. So we started doing some research around the time, found out that asthma was the deadliest disease in America without a cure. So with that, we tried to turn a tragedy into basically a learning situation where we can help others find out, the severity of asthma, because not many people are aware that asthma can kill you. And at the time that my brother passed, there were 17 people a day in the U.S. dying from asthma attacks on average daily. So with that, we turned my dad's fame into a bit of a reclamation project where we have spun it to asthma and started focusing on donating money back to various children's hospitals and raising awareness about the severity of asthma and the complications of it. So through that, we've gotten that number down to just 11 deaths a day and looking to keep getting it lower down into the single digits through our works and efforts with people like Roll House and through some of our other events we have going on.
That's amazing. A great and noble, of course, an awful, like you said, turning a tragedy into a learning experience for so many other people.
Right.
I can think of so many people in my own life that just experience asthma and struggle with it. But until you just said that out loud, I was like, oh, I didn't even, you don't think about it. It just seems like one of those things that people they struggle with it, but maybe not in such a finite manner.
Correct.
So, amazing work. That's really where I'm going. I was like, I'm stammering because I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing, Yeah. It's crazy. Well, again, my condolences, but I love that you all are out there doing something amazing with this too. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
So you're saying this is the second annual event, right? Too. So
Yes.
is that specific to just the foundation, or is there like a bigger picture here?
This is our second annual one for the foundation. I'm sure Roll House does a lot more events like this, but this is our second one that we've done with Roll House, and we're looking to make this an annual thing where we get back to it every year, and then hopefully we can expand and do more of these at more of their locations. I was just talking with Maggie. They have several locations, as she said, and this Cleveland one sounds pretty expansive that I want to expand up there hopefully and start doing some there.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, why not? Let's blanket the state, baby. I'm in. I just went up and did a show in Cleveland for the podcast, and was very pleased. Yeah, I've not spent a lot of time up there, but I was very pleased with the, how should I say, just like the audience's involvement. Not that they're not that way in Cincinnati too, but there was just this extra little bit of icing on the cake up there where it was a sold out show. Everybody was really engaged and really interested in everybody's mission. I found it fascinating. So yeah, that would be awesome. Yes. And then why not? So Meg, maybe tell me a little bit about Roll House Entertainment. Like I know obviously bowling alley, right? But like, what's the magic here? You know what I mean? What am I sprinkling on top?
So Row House, it's next level bowling alley entertainment center. Of course, our Fairfield location is more of a traditional bowling center, so of course the locals are going to be familiar with that type of center. Our Columbus location has an arcade, and it also has laser tag, so it has a little more to offer. And 3 of the ones up near Cleveland, so we have a North Olmsted location, a Mentor location, and a Solon location, which is where I work out of. Okay. They have escape rooms, they have full arcades and redemption with tickets and things for the kids. The Solon location does have a private karaoke room that people can rent out.
That sounds fun too.
Yeah, and we have our latest attraction is we have the laser tag, but we've also added gel blasters, so it shoots like the little Orby beads, and so you can actually shoot people.
All right, I'm 100% invested. I was
like, I'm sold.
If my ops are listening right now, meet me at that location. You know, I was like a little. I'm assuming probably similar to like, well, probably not as intense as paintball, but like
right. Cool. And it's water beads, so there's no staining of clothes or anything like that. And it's a lot of fun. And we can have up to I think 15 to 20 at a time.
That's cool.
So we have a 2-story arena.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's like
That's
I
crazy.
said, it's next level.
When are we adding that to Fairfield? I'll get the gel blasters every week. That'll be like a company outing.
Can we just pick the podcast up and move it there? I'm ready to go now.
You know, it's funny because when you all came down here, I was like, that's very nice of them. And now I'm thinking maybe next time I have to go out there.
Yes. I'm all for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when we plan your next
that.
event, I think that's how we kick this off. We go out there. It's like, all right, we'll mic up and we'll go shoot each other.
Yes, this would be great. Whoever gets shot has to talk next.
That's usually how I did it in here. I was like, oh my gosh, so many people said no to doing the podcast now. Like, we just can't hang. That's amazing. Do you mind if I see the flyer real fast? I know you've got it out here. Okay, so let's talk a couple details on this. So August 15th now, where this is on Dixie Highway. Tell me about some of the details as far as this going, because it's like, right, you're doing teams of bowlers as well. There's like individual access. Like, walk me through that so as I'm flipping through the notes too.
I'll take that question. So it's teams of 5. Mm-hmm. It's $30 per bowler or $150 a team.
Okay.
And we're playing almost like a golf scramble where you're going to play best ball.
Okay,
so,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, your entire team gets the best ball. Everyone's going to bowl. You take the best score out of that frame for everyone.
Okay.
So I know last year we had the winning team bowled a 300. So, It's a strike every single frame. You got 5 chances to get a strike out of your entire team. But it's going to be going on from 6 to 10. I think last year we had roughly 36 teams, if I remember correctly, and this year right now we're trending to be a little bit bigger than that. So it's definitely expanding. It's a fun experience. We've got a lot of other things going on. We've got red carpet pictures. We've got a live DJ. We got a VIP room for people that want to purchase VIP tickets. We're going to have some celebrity guests there. Obviously, Icky Woods will be set up signing autographs, and then you can take pictures of some of the current and former Bengals players.
Oh, people are going to go crazy for this.
Yes.
That's so awesome. It sounds like so much fun. It's one of those things. Well, look, I was about to be like, how do I not know that this was down the street from me here? And then I was like, I absolutely know. I live in Kentucky, and I leave and go home immediately as soon as I walk out of the building. I was like, oh, yeah, we have gas stations in Fairfield? That's crazy. What's something that you would love people to know or prep for with regards to this, like leading up to the event? Is there anything that they should prepare for besides to not have me on their team? Because even with 5 attempts and best ball, best case, you're talking 3 pins.
I would say just come out prepared to have fun. Obviously, all the money is going back to a great cause towards asthma awareness. So don't be afraid to spend. We're going to have raffles, 50-50, all kind of stuff that people can spend money in other ways to help the charity out.
Yeah, and still support it in a fun way. And I know people love a raffle anyway because you're like, oh, I get a little something back immediately, potentially, in order to, not that helping's not enough. But sometimes I know some people are like, it would be great to go home with a trinket. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sometimes one of those people too. I do like to help. That's amazing.
They had some great items in the silent auction last year as well too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can I get a Jungle Gyms exclusive on this? What are we putting out there this year? Anything fun you want to leak?
I know last year we had a lot of Joe Burrow pictures, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. We had a signed football with both of them on it. Last year's winners actually got signed jerseys from Icky Woods.
Oh, cool.
Second place got white panel football signed by Icky Woods.
Amazing.
And I don't remember what we gave third place, honestly, but all the prizes are great. The silent auction's even better.
I bet.
You name it, we've got it. We try a little bit of everything. We had some Tom Brady pictures out. We had Mike Tyson boxing stuff, Muhammad Ali boxing stuff, Ken Griffey
cool.
pictures.
Oh, hell yeah.
Our silent auction is pretty expansive across the sports world and even just the general pop culture world. We have a little bit of everything for everybody.
I really love that idea, too, because I'm like a casual enthusiast for a lot of like what I would call traditional sports like football, basketball, baseball, whatever. But I love that you've expanded a little beyond there because then I'm like, all right, cool. There's a little something more for me too. Because otherwise I'm just hanging out in a room of legends and I'm like, well, you guys are all really friendly.
Tall guys, like
yeah, I was like, this is crazy. I am really out of shape. Oh my gosh. Well, a question I always have to ask in this moment because I don't get too many opportunities like this. What's it like being the offspring of a legend? Can I ask that? Is that a weird question?
It's a question I get pretty frequently, actually.
I figured as much, but I had to just hear your spin on it.
I tell everyone it's the most difficult question I get asked probably on a daily basis because to me, he's just dad. So I don't know any other life.
I love that though, actually. And that's like such a beautiful thing to hear because I think so many times like the kind of like the legend or character of who they are sometimes can like supersede that. So it's beautiful. And I had a feeling you were going to answer that way since you were still pretty involved in the foundation, you know what I mean? All that stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, obviously growing up, I thought my life was normal to me as a kid, but as an adult now, I realize it wasn't normal. But like I said, I don't know any other life. So to me, my life is normal to me.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Did you ever have an experience that as you got older, you were like, this is one of those things that I'm like, okay, this is not something other kids got to experience.
Yes. So actually in 2021, when the Bengals played the Super Bowl, we flew out to LA for the game and we had a field level suite. We're in a suite with all the Men of Honor nominees that year. So you're in a room with 30 NFL superstars. Right. And I'm looking around like, I don't belong here. Yeah. I know I don't belong here, but these guys are coming up asking to take pictures of me. I'm like, okay, this is not a normal kid's life.
Oh, that's really cool, though. What a beautiful experience.
Yes, it was a phenomenal experience. You could literally reach out and touch the turf at the Super Bowl game.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Wow. How many people get to do that,
Right. It's not many.
How'd the turf feel?
Plasticky.
That would be the big letdown today. Like, it's just regular.
Yeah. Very turfy.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I did an event around that. So when they went, I should back up. And podcast listeners, you've heard this probably a billion times. I'm sorry, but I love you. I'm not from here originally, but when I came here, I adopted a lot of the Cincinnati things. Like I love the Cincinnati style chili and all that stuff. So when they were getting ready to go to the playoffs, I made a joke online that went out of control, which was just, finally, I get to bathe in Cincinnati chili. And then people were like, oh, you're going to do that? And I'm like, I guess I'm going to do that.
I'm in.
So we had
that's one commitment.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, well, we had a whole bathtub pretty much right about where you were all sitting. I did a whole episode of the podcast from like 25 gallons of Gold Star.
Wow.
Not as bad as you'd think. It cleaned up pretty oddly well. But we did put a bunch of tarps down and like wrap the floor with carpet stuff. But one of those times where I was just like, am I a big enough fan to get away with this? And I was like, I'm just here to support the city regardless. But it was one of those like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. And sometimes I'll get the question every so often, like, what was it like? And the answer is normal. It felt, actually, in a weird way, I'm like sitting here going, I was like, it feels like touching the turf. So I was thinking about that, which was, I'm bathing in this weird product. And as soon as I get out and it washed off really easy. I kept thinking, I was like, I'm going to be orange for a week. And I didn't smell like, I was genuine. When I got out of the shower, I was kind of like, oh, it's over. So I kind of imagine that might be how the turf felt a little bit, where you're just like, yeah, it's okay.
It's normal turf, same turf I touch every day as a high school football coach. Feels the same.
Exactly. Oh, where are you coaching?
I coach at Centerville up in Dayton.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Okay. Makes sense. So now I need to come up and visit. Really, this is just a scam for me to stop at Tony and Pete's sandwich shop on the way. So that's my Dayton plug in the meantime. Oh, that's so cool, though. Do you love doing that?
I do. I've been coaching for 8 years now. This is going on year number 4 at Centerville. It's my year, honestly. I love it. It keeps me around the game of football now that I don't play anymore, and it helps me expand my thought process a little bit. I guess transitioning from a player to a coach, you see a different side of the game and you feel a different connection to it.
Interesting. What are some of those like big differences that you really, I mean, obviously the physicality of it is different, but like what are some of those other things that you really like get excited about on the coaching side?
You start to understand that when you tell a kid to do something, you envision it one way and then they do it completely different. You're like, not how I saw you doing that, but you still got the job done. Cool. Yeah. All right. Now here's how I wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a different thought process, and you start to see the more ins and outs of the game, that not just X's and O's of, this guy's supposed to be here. This is why you're doing it, as opposed to why and how now.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And I imagine it's got to be a great opportunity to really grow, especially thinking about your example, just grow the communicative process,
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
I can't even imagine what that's like.
Yes.
I haven't been in that situation before, so I'm like, huh.
And ironically, it's actually helped me with the foundation. You learn to communicate with a lot of different people in different ways and help people retain information differently, because, obviously as a high school football team, we've got about 90 kids on our team. Not everybody learns the same way. Sure. Not everybody retains information the same way. So you have to communicate different things differently to different kids, take different tones of voice with different people.
Sure.
It really helps with this kind of work, because I'm able to communicate with so many different people different ways now and help them retain the information I'm telling them, whether it's about asthma or about our events, and even just coming down here to communicate with you guys.
Yeah.
It's been, it helps a lot.
I love that too. And to me, this is such a refreshing conversation already, just because I think when you think football, right, you're thinking predominantly just the crunching of pads, right? Like that's like the first sound I hear. But now what I'm hearing is like, actually, we're really thinking about the way we're communicating with each other. And we're, and I know, I'm sorry to laugh a little bit about it, but it's like, honestly, I was like, oh, this is sweet,
yes.
In like a genuine, cool way, where I imagine that I can imagine, well, I mean, honestly, imagine what it was like in the locker room for your dad comparatively, right? Like, I imagine tensions were probably high, a lot of, I imagine loudness in general, and now have this like whole generational, I just find this so fascinating, that it's like generational shift, that we're all like, hey, we're actually out here trying to understand each other. We're all trying to do a job together. So
Correct.
How do I get you to understand what I want you to understand in a way that works for you too?
Correct.
It's beautiful. This has been great already. I'm just like, oh, I love your energy so much, truly.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. But Maggie, I am really genuinely stuck on when are we getting the gel blasters in Fairfield? I'm asking all these serious questions, like, what are we going to do about that for real? No, but you said you guys are up to 7 locations. We obviously have the one here.
Yes.
And now the Fairfield one is just bowling currently. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm not upset about it. I love bowling too. But
Right.
You tell me there's an opportunity for gels to be blasted and to just activate something primal in me.
We do have, events and we cater to all sizes. We do birthday parties for, everything from like 10 children parties to 200 people, fundraisers, corporate parties, and we really pride ourselves on exceptional service. A little more than what you would expect from a bowling alley. Yeah. We also offer a catering menu that has options like up to farm to table experience with a carving station for like Christmas dinner. You know what I mean?
That's
so
cool,
we offer a little more than what people would think of as a traditional bowling alley menu and things like that.
Sure.
Full bar, bourbon selections, things like that. That again,
an elevated experience.
Yes, an elevated experience. more than the
because most of my
traditional
bowling alley experience has been like, what size are you as they toss a pair
Yes.
of shoes at me against the alley?
Yes,
Not that that's
exactly.
bad. There's a place for that too.
Right,
Look,
right.
because I'm part of that older generation, I'm prepared to either be yelled at or have you talk to me in a soft voice. So whichever one you're into, I could probably figure this out. But no, I do kind of love that too. I'm curious to check it out. We've been talking a lot at home lately about like we haven't gone bowling maybe ever together. I did it so much in high school, right? And then once I stopped being in marching band and we stopped going, I was like, all right, well, I guess I don't know what we do
That's
now.
just-
yeah.
yeah.
I guess I'm gonna try to make movies now. You know what I mean? I was like 17. I don't know what I was doing in my life. I love that though, and I'm just in my head. I'm just picturing the carving station and the alley. But I wish I'd made time to go over and look at it first, because then I would have even better jokes about the layout.
This place sounds like a little bit of heaven
It
for
does.
a young
honestly.
adult.
I'm like, I think I'm going to come to this now. Along these lines, Aubrey, so you do the annual bowling shuffle. Do you do other events throughout the year, other installations? Like, what's some other stuff you've got coming up?
Yes, so we actually have probably 7 or 8 major events that we do every year. So obviously we have the bowling tournament. We have 2 golf outings, one in Las Vegas, one in Cincinnati.
Cool.
We have a sand volleyball tournament every year in
Tells
July.
me I know which one is the better of those two.
Actually,
The Cincinnati one probably.
the Cincinnati one sells better, but I think the Vegas one is a slightly better time just because you're in Vegas.
In Vegas, how could you say no to that, right?
Right.
I'm like, where do they even have grass for golfing in Vegas?
Correct,
Oh,
yeah.
It's the turf again, probably.
Yeah, it is a lot of turf, and it's actually a lot of places now are starting to roll in grass, like they grow it on a patch, almost like a 2x4 plank.
Yeah.
And then they roll it in for a lot of the grass
like
out
that.
on the courses. So
That's crazy.
that's a big sell there. We also have a cruise trip that we do every year to raise money.
Whoa.
Yeah, we just kicked off our Bengals ticket raffle, so we raffle off 2 tickets to every home game for fans. It's $50 for an entry or $80, and you can pick the game that you want to go to. And then we do a lot of celebrity events, like we just played a celebrity softball game. You'll see my dad out signing autographs out in the community. We do tailgates at every Bengals home game. You name it, we try it to raise money. And like I said, asthma is a under knowledgeable topic for a lot of people, especially when one of every 3 Americans has it. Not too many people know that they have it or know how to identify someone that is suffering from an asthma attack. So anything we can do to get our face in the community and spread the knowledge of asthma, we try it.
Have there been any little tells that, like, I'm trying to think of how to word this. I had a doctor in here once, and he was talking about how once he knew enough of the base layer of like the affliction, he was just like, oh, now I almost can't escape going, that person has it, that person has it, that person has it. Do you find that to be the case too?
I do find myself doing that sometimes, where I see kids, whether it's just a hot muggy day and they're coughing a lot more, or even when a kid pulls out their inhaler, like, hey, I know what that is.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're like, is that albuterol? Like, exactly. Crazy to think about too, and it really is. I mean, until you said that, genuinely, I had no idea how severe the problem could be. Obviously, it's breathing, so it's maybe I'm dumb for saying it that way, but you just don't hear a ton about it. You're right. I mean, it's like, how many other afflictions are out there like that? Do you know what I mean? That people are like genuinely really struggling with, right?
Yes.
I had a recent guest on. I actually thought that I was going to get their episode out before this, but since this is coming up sooner, you're going to air first. But they were struggling with a bunch of chronic illnesses, and it was causing them so much problem with like eating. It was just I'm very reductively describing it that way, but it was just wild to see these things that I kind of had not heard a lot about, right? Like I'm familiar with food allergies or, gluten sensitivity, that kind of stuff. But to see all these things kind of come together in this format where I was like, oh, you're just kind of always having a bad time and there's no freedom in your life, really.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. And now I'm sitting here thinking, doing the same thing where I'm like, imagine if just breathing was so hard all the time anyway, and then the extra layer of it being like, if this goes unchecked in certain regards, or maybe not, I'm assuming at least, not maybe treated with the severity that it might need to be handled with. Correct. It could lead to something awful. It's terrible to think about. So I think this is really great that you guys are doing this.
Yes,
It's a cool awareness. I genuinely, this is going to be one of those things that after you all leave, I'm like, I'm busy, and it's just me Googling symptoms, and it's me looking up what should we be doing about this?
Correct.
Are there some things that you found as far as, obviously we're raising funds to support both awareness and help with the illness itself, but are there little things or little tips that they give you guys as far as this, oh, hey, if you're experiencing this, maybe do this? I don't know.
Yeah, so a big one that helps a lot is cold showers. When people start to have trouble breathing, because the cold air helps expand your lungs a little bit, so it makes it easier for you to breathe. And then just being able to identify when someone is struggling, the shortness of breath, maybe hunched over a little bit, just any little trigger, just being knowledgeable helps. And we've actually started to work on doing, it's called an Asthma Awareness Day. We do one in Vegas every year where we have doctors from local children's hospitals come out, and they will just test you for asthma and give you like the little knowledgeable tips on how to identify if someone has asthma, how to help them if they're having asthma. They give out inhalers. So that's going to be a big thing that we love to do in the community. That's going to really kick off that educating people on the severity of it and helping others that have it, rather than just you knowing that you have it. How can I help someone else that has it?
Yeah. I feel like the education's got to be both at once the most fulfilling, but probably also the most difficult part of it too.
Correct.
Right? Wild. We should do one of them here. We had some doctors do a thing up here a few years ago. I'm like, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm on board if I can help, of course. That not my department quite, but I'm like, I like good ideas and I will pitch it up the right way.
Thank you.
Well, this has been a beautiful experience, guys. I mean, I love this. Again, let me go back through this list one more time. So August 15th, this is at the Roll House on Dixie Highway here in Fairfield from 6 to 10 p.m. Oh, here it is, 5181 Dixie Highway. I was
And
like,
people
yeah.
can register. I know that they can do it at Roll House in
Correct.
Fairfield, or they can go to the website.
Correct. You can go directly to JovanteWoodsFoundation.org.
Okay.
That's JOVANTE woodsfoundation.org, and register directly on the website. Or you can send us an email and we'll get you in touch with the right people to register your team.
Perfect. I'll put all that info in the. If you're watching or listening, I'll put all that info in the show notes so you can just click the link real easily too. I'll put it on screen too. That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming down today. I really
problem.
appreciate it. And thank you as well, Maggie.
Thank you.
You all
you for having
traveled
us.
away
Thank
in today, but see, wasn't this a little bit better in person? We were
Yes.
just.
Yes.
I was thinking at
Yes.
one point about pitching. I was like, do we do it remote so you guys don't have to drive? And then I was like, I don't know. This feels a little more serious, and I never feel like you get to connect with people as well. Over
Correct.
a Zoom
agree.
Call.
I
And
agree.
then of course it's the numbers too. Like I think after COVID, people are like, I'm never watching anyone in their living room ever again, unless I'm in their living room with them for whatever reason. Amazing. Before I go out, I'll just throw this in at the end. Is there anything else that you wanted to make sure we covered or said?
I think we've touched everything. Again, I want to thank you for having us on today, and
course.
I'd love to
Yes.
thank Maggie and her staff for all the work that they have been doing to help not only promote this event, but for allowing us to have it. They are doing a phenomenal job. They did a great job last year of decorating, advertising, and making sure that all of our needs were met to have this event. We had no thoughts of going anywhere else for this event again
I
this year
love that.
because of the fantastic job that they did last year.
That's amazing. Well, thank you
you.
so much. That's
Thank
so
you.
kind. Yeah, I love that.
I know I heard a lot of great feedback last year as people were leaving, just trying to listen in, and they're like, "Oh, this was great! This was awesome! Can't wait to come back next year." So, yeah, I think it's going to be a great thing for the community and for the foundation. And
I love this too because I'm just like, oh, there's more fun stuff happening in Fairfield.
Yeah.
One more reason for me to make a stop before I drive home.
do you want to come bowl?
Yeah, I think I should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
fun. Look, after this goes great for you all, my next pitch will be we go to all the locations
Yes.
and we try all the things out
Definitely.
together. It'll be so fun.
And if Junglejims ever wants to have an event, I'll give you my card.
I'll gladly do it. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, with us being close to the 50th too, I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't think that far ahead.
Right.
All right, well, I'll start.
Celebrate.
We'll work on this off once the cameras are off.
And for anyone on the fence, just remember it is best ball out of all 5 of your bowlers. So you don't necessarily have to be good. You just need one good bowler on your team.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. I'm not the good bowler. I'm the one. I'm there to say funny things. I was like, don't let me have this.
Keep
It's
up
just
the
gonna be-
morale.
Right, exactly. I was like, you're doing great. Do not let me throw anything down the alley.
Correct.
I'm so bad at it.
Probably better than me. When I bowl, I just throw it as hard as I can and hope things explode.
I was like, oh, did we just become best friends?
Probably.
Oh, that's so good. Well, awesome. Well, thank you all both for coming down today.
Thank
Look
you
forward
so
to
much,
it. Yeah,
Mark. I
congratulations.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everyone, that's our show. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. As always, I know a lot of you love this on the audio side, but if you want to, join us over on YouTube. Even if you're not doing it just for the podcast, we release a lot of separate content there. We just tried out a new segment we'd been cooking up called 15 Items or Less. Our first guest was pop culture architect, head writer, and showrunner for The Simpsons, worked on Futurama. I mean, his accolades go on forever. Now he's a cool food guy. Anyway, Bill is our first guest, so you should definitely check that episode out. Give me some feedback and tell me what you think. Eventually, I will probably try to maybe cut some clips out of it too, which I think would be a good idea. So we got that going on. Of course, it's our 50th anniversary. Don't forget our 50th. If you go to junglejims.com/50, you can learn all about everything that we're planning. We've got some stuff coming up. I'm trying to find out exactly what I should be telling everybody yet. But if you haven't, I think one of the coolest things going on right now is that you can actually even see this advertised on one of the metro buses that we had wrapped this year. But we are doing a giveaway for a pretty much one of its kind, junglejims Lego set, like a custom Lego set. It looks incredible. Very few of these are being made for real. I don't even know if we're going to be selling them, to be honest with you. So you definitely want to enter that contest. Again, that's junglejims.com/50. All right, everyone, on that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching the show, tuning in, all that good stuff. And in the meantime, I'll see you out there in the aisles.
The Jungle Gyms podcast is recorded in the WJJI studio inside Jungle Gyms International Market in Fairfield, Ohio. The Jungle Gyms podcast is produced and hosted by Mark Borison.